Time doesn't erase murder. It just hides it better. They said the case was closed. They said no one was watching. But someone always is. This is Santana True Crime.
Welcome to Santana True Crime. Tonight we are going to be talking about the disappearance of Matthew McDonald from California, Pennsylvania. We've got with us a packed house. We've got Matthew's sister, Sam, who's been leading the charge with Matthew's Army on TikTok and other forms of social media. And we've got another special guest, someone that has decades of homicide experience. She recently came out with a book, Model Detective. Michele, welcome to the show.
Thank you, guys.
And of course, I've got joining me my brother, Dr. Brian Santana, author of A Murder on Campus, the professor, the cop, and North Carolina's most notorious cold case. Sam, I know we've done this show before, and I told you, and I'll say it again, we're going to continue to talk about this until we find your brother. And I sincerely mean this. Michele Wood, she's been with the Chicago Police Department. She's about to actually retire, but she's worked homicides for decades. And I know that in the area where Matthew went missing, I can confidently say that I'm sure that Michele has probably worked more homicides than probably anyone in that county. I think that'd be fair to say. So, Sam, can you walk us through let's go through this case again, and I'm sure that Michele will have some questions. So let's start out with your brother, kind of the background and the day that he went missing.
Okay, so yeah, my brother had a little bit of a background where he was incarcerated for a decade in Pennsylvania. He was robbing people like gas stations at the age of 18 with some friends, and then he took the blame for all his friends and ended up doing 10 years. So he came home in January of 2022, and he ended up with an ankle monitor by December. He got it in like October of 22. So December 24th, he actually took his ankle monitor off, but the family didn't know that he had taken it off until March 2nd of 2023. Nobody had contacted us. Nobody reached out to us. Nobody did anything regarding his monitor. So at this point, we ended up on the 7th of March, my brother was supposed to take himself back into the turn himself in. He had 9 months left of parole. And he was supposed to turn himself in. And that's what we expected him to do on the 7th when he was reaching out asking for gas money. He was about an hour away from Pittsburgh where he had to turn himself in. And he got about $60 from some family. And then he had dinner with my dad and his girlfriend, Kylie, who apparently was his fiance at the time. And they were only together 6 weeks prior to this. And then nobody has seen or heard from him since then. So then we got into the 10th of March where we realized his girlfriend and another girl were on his social medias and pretending to be him. And then they ended up posting videos pretty much on his Snapchat saying, "Where's Matthew? We're looking for Matthew. Does anyone know where Matthew is?" And nobody reached out to us, but we assumed Matthew had turned himself in and they just had his logins. So then the next day, something was like, okay, I should reach out to her and ask her some more questions. And she told me that she had left him in a cemetery after 4 hours of talking to her. That's what it took for her to say, I left him in a cemetery. And that's all she said. And I said, okay, where's his phone? And she stated that his phone was stolen by the other girl whose name was Sierra.
So just to clarify this, how many people were in the car the day that Matthew went missing, to your knowledge?
Supposedly it was just Kylie and Matthew.
Okay. And was there something about that Matthew was in like the trunk at some point?
Yeah, so apparently when he was going to work the day he disappeared, which was the 9th of March, he rode in the trunk on the way to work. And then on the way back like out of the after getting picked up from work early. Supposedly the coworker saw him getting into the trunk right before he disappeared, and then the girlfriend states that he just got in the front seat.
You mentioned that he had a fiance. You said apparently his fiance. At what point did you all learn that they were engaged, and how did you learn that?
We didn't know that they were even engaged until after he went missing, and we were trying to figure out what was going on, and supposedly they had a ring that the girls were tossing back and forth.
When you say tossing back and forth, the two girls, Sierra
Yes, and Kylie.
and Kylie, he was dating both of them. Is that right?
Yes. So he was dating Kylie, but supposedly seeing Sierra behind Kylie's back.
And were they friends?
No, they didn't know each other apparently until Matthew came in the picture of both their lives.
Okay. And when you said tossing the ring around, was that on one of the live things that they were doing, or the things that they were doing on TikTok?
So what had happened is supposedly my brother had gotten the ring from Sierra, and it was to pawn it for money because Sierra had been married prior. So she gave it to my brother to pawn for money. And after that, he went to Kylie and proposed to her with it. And then when when Sierra stole the phone off of Kylie, she also stole the ring because it was sitting on the dresser and she knew it was hers. So she stole it. And then the next day, which I believe was the 11th, Kylie went back to Sierra's and stole it back. And she still wears it to this day.
So Kylie wears it to this day.
Yes.
Okay. And how, just randomly age ranges, how old is Kylie and Sierra roundabout?
Sierra, I would guess, is 30. Kylie's 32.
And does Kylie, that you know of, or Sierra, do they have any history of, illicit narcotics?
Yes, both.
Okay, both of them. And have either one of them been incarcerated?
Both.
Both, okay. And we can talk about that stuff later off. Okay, I'm sorry, guys, go on.
No, you're
fine.
I'm fine to let you do your thing here. That's
No, I'm wondering. I mean, the main problem that I see here, obviously, is the fact that our timeline is going off of two people who you don't necessarily know if they're being forthcoming or not.
Right.
And then I do like, though, that, okay, so Kylie's wearing the ring, so she still at least has some kind of loyalty to your brother.
They were only together 6 weeks.
6 weeks. Yeah, but I mean, her wearing it, right? You know what I mean? Like she can go pawn it for money too. So you think there's got to be some stronghold on that. And then the cemetery, is that a place where people hang out, do drugs, do stuff? Like, do you know anything about it?
Nope. It's a very open cemetery in the middle of nowhere. A lot of people drive past it. It's a very busy area. So I wouldn't see anyone going up there to do anything as far as I know. My brother and I weren't speaking from January. We quit talking due to just the way he was pretty much going through life. I didn't really like it. So I told him once he turned himself in and, got his stuff straight and narrow, we'd be on speaking terms again. So I'm not sure if that's someplace they went, but Kylie stated that they just drove past it and he was trying to get out of the car.
And why was he trying to get out of the car?
Supposedly he just wanted to get out, she said.
And I know you mentioned before, I looked at some of your social media stuff. You said that he wasn't in like a good state of mind. Did you mean that he was like suffering from mental health, or do you think that narcotics were involved in that?
Narcotics, supposedly, but again, that wasn't something that my brother did. So hearing it was really odd.
Okay. So your brother was not using narcotics at that time?
No, as far as we know, they're saying it was meth. But as far as we know, he had never used prior. He always gardened. That was all he ever did. So he had his medical card and that's it.
Okay. And cell phone records, I'm guessing the police got them, but do you have any knowledge of the cell phone records? I was talking to the guys earlier and we were talking about the fact that there was something about his phone being left behind, which seems a little odd to me. That, I mean, people don't leave their phone behind unless they're coming right back, or unless that's not a true story about leaving phones behind, unless he forgot it, obviously.
Yeah, so the story behind that part, supposedly the day he went to work, which was the 9th, he got back to Kylie's. He was gone for like there's 6 hours unaccounted for that we're not sure what he was doing. And then he comes back around 10:30 in the morning to Kylie's house and stated, hey, I have to go to work. and he only worked at a residential home, which was down the road from the house where he was staying with Kylie. So when he went to go to work, he jumped in her trunk to ride to work.
Is that
So
common? Was that a regular thing? Like,
no, no. My brother was claustrophobic, so like even knowing that he was in the trunk is weird to us. So he apparently, when they got to the job site, he got out of the trunk with a sweatshirt wrapped around his face. And
Did
he
anyone
ran.
actually, sorry to interrupt you, Sam, but has anyone actually seen him get out of the trunk?
Yeah, the coworker said he got out of the trunk.
Okay.
And
So
do we
that
believe
part
the
we actually know
coworker?
is true.
yeah. Do we believe that coworker?
There was multiple that said it,
Okay.
but they are not always great people either. So
And what kind of work did your brother do?
construction.
Construction. So when he
He
was at the
was-
residential thing, what was he doing there?
I'm not sure. I think they were doing a roof that day, but it was all under the table work for him. So
And then beside, like, do you know any of the people that either of these girls are with? I mean, I'm not saying that a woman couldn't do anything, but was there any other like third party involved that we haven't talked about yet?
not that well, there's actually a lot of people involved in this. It goes back to actually a lot of different names, but we can't prove that they're part of it. They're just kind of in the surrounding story. We've had a lot of people come to us, tell us that my brother's in a mine shaft wrapped in a carpet, that he's in concrete somewhere, and that he's in a trunk of a car in a river. So those people that have come to us, we have questioned them as well. Like, how do you know this?
Sam, can you go through and explain to Michelle of when this started to occur and when you started to see it on social media?
Do you mean with him missing?
With the comments about how he's in a mine shaft and
Yeah,
the
so it
bottom
was
of a river.
within a month of him missing. We just constantly were getting messages from people like, "Hey, I heard he's here. Hey, I heard his body's here. Hey, I heard he's in the trunk of a car in a river. You should check this area. You should check this town." And it's like we went on every hunt, every single person that came to us with information, we checked it out. We didn't care. Me and my cousin drove all the way to Clarksburg, West Virginia, because someone told us they saw him down there. Just on
Are
a
people
whim, just up
giving
and left.
are people having you a conversation when they are giving tips, or are they just sending you a message like he's in a river in this area or he
It's
is
it's
in a
more
mine
so
shaft?
us reaching out to them because we know they're in his inner circle of people before he went missing, and then they give us that information.
And do they ever tell you where the information came from?
Yes.
Okay, so they'll give you the name. And is there, okay, the whole thing, I'm just talking about possibly getting rid of some of these rumors. Is there a car that's missing? Like, oh, holy crap, so-and-so's car is missing, and someone's saying that he is in a car. So is there a car that's no longer around?
Supposedly Kylie has a car that is missing, multiple people have said, but we weren't sure what she was driving at the time.
Do you know if the investigative team, are they aware of that?
Supposedly they are, but again, they don't return calls to us, emails, voicemails, nothing. They don't reach back out to us. They pretty much say that we hounded them with stories in the beginning, so they don't want to help us anymore. But it's more so we got all these messages regarding places he was at and people saying this and that. So what else are we supposed to do except turning over to the police who have the case?
Were there any
Yeah,
commonalities in the
definitely.
stories between this? So you're getting these different places that were there. Was there anything that was similar about all these stories, despite the the different locations? But was there anything that kind of tied these stories together? Any consistent thing that kind of kept coming up?
The area, there were certain
Mhm.
areas that just kept coming up and multiple people said it.
And what area is this that kept on coming up?
Just a little town outside of California called Mariana.
What's the significance of that town to your brother or
None
is
that I
there any?
know of. They just state that it's an area he could be at. It's a really small town, neighboring by coal mines and like water and everything else. So, and woods everywhere.
And they're saying that
Canyons.
he's dead or that he's in this area a lot.
Every single person has told us he's been murdered.
Okay. And they
And
use the
are they
word
saying
murder,
who murdered
right?
him? Which of the girls?
It wasn't one of the girls. It was somebody else, supposedly.
Okay. And cell phone records, do you have cell site towers, text messages, whatever from your brother's phone?
So we didn't get his phone back until 4 people had his phone, and then we didn't get it back for a week and a half after that.
Have you
So
called Homicide?
by the time I got through his phone, there was a lot of stuff deleted. So we turned it over to the police, and when they were able to recover everything, they got a search warrant for the girlfriend's apartment, her car, and her electronics. And they said supposedly they found DNA in the trunk of the car that belonged to him, but didn't tell us how or what kind. And then the girlfriend supposedly is saying that when she got the warrant, it said homicide at the top.
And you're talking about when they did the search warrant on her house?
Yeah, that's what she keeps saying.
Can you tell Michelle about what happened with that and what led them to the search warrant and the results of that?
Yeah, so that's what they did, is look through her phone. And then supposedly she's saying when they searched her apartment, it was only her bedroom they searched and no other room in the house. But also, she reached out to me in July of 23. They searched her apartment around May of 23. And she's like, hey, I have your brother's wallet. There's nothing in it. And I was like, what do you mean? Where's it been? She's like, on my dresser since he went missing. What do you mean? So then I get it off of her and everything's in it. Everything.
And so, I mean, obviously your brother, you obviously probably don't believe that he would go anywhere without his wallet, right?
No, he wouldn't.
So, I mean, you guys now have since recovered his wallet and his cell phone. I know the police have it and they did the dump on it, or the forensic investigation on it. The cell messages that were deleted and then since recovered, the police didn't share with you what actually it said, though.
They haven't shared anything with us except the DNA.
And Kylie, you know, if you're having conversations with her, at any point have you told her, like, look, I mean, you know what was in the messages are from you. Has she been completely unwilling to share that with you?
Yeah, so at some point she sent us a screen recording of her and Matthew's messages, text messages, but she goes through them really, really, really fast. So you have to really pause to read them. And we found out a lot of new information from that. And that was just this past November that she's kept from us for 3 years. So there's still more information we know that she's keeping from us, because every time she talks about the cemetery, she gets really anxious and overwhelmed.
Okay. Any thoughts or possibility that not necessarily her, that someone set him up?
Yeah.
Okay. And the police obviously aren't talking to you about anything. When's the last time you reached out to the local police?
November.
Did you ask? You're doing an event tomorrow, right, for your
Yes.
brother? Have you asked them to participate in it?
We've told them about it. They know about it. We've posted on their Facebook page about it, so they're well aware.
They're well aware, and they're not sending a representative. I understand it's a smaller department and stuff like that. And have you reached out to local media, news,
Yep.
letting them know?
We have news coming, and we have a big paper coming as well called the Post Gazette.
It's probably too late for you to do it now, but you should still reach out. Crime Stoppers is 24 hours, and you guys do have a local location, Fayetteville County in Pennsylvania. They're 24 hours. I've used them so many times, and they've been a great resource, because I think the problem here is, I think you've got a handful of people that know exactly what happened here, right? I mean, it
Yes.
seems that way, and you're just wanting to, you know, perhaps tug at someone's heartstrings, or someone that is, I was telling the guys earlier, less culpable than someone else. You might have people here that we even talked about that were involved and are afraid that they're going to go down for it, or maybe are even afraid if they're living a lifestyle where they're dealing with meth and this and that. Maybe they're afraid for their safety, their family's safety. But yeah, I mean, obviously you've been doing everything that you can. You're doing the right thing. But Crime Stoppers is really good at putting up flyers and, you know, talking to people. Sometimes people don't want to talk to the family. You know, they don't want to face you, number one. They don't want to talk to the police because they think they're going to get in trouble. But yeah, I mean, I'm sorry that you're having such a hard time with the law enforcement, and I'm hoping that maybe they have like a huge lead and that's why they're not sharing anything. Usually, and I don't know about this situation, when people become silent, it's because they're, moving towards an arrest or some kind of closure to the case. But I don't think it's, acceptable to family members to not know exactly what's going on, or at least, have an idea of even what was in the messages. And it's unfortunate that the girl isn't willing to share that information with you, because I think it would give you guys, when you did, are you willing to go through it all? I know you said you scrolled through and you had to keep pausing to look at the messages and you found new information. Is there anything that you could share about that information?
My brother and her and other people were definitely robbing for drugs and money at the time
Okay.
before he went missing. So we didn't know that was happening either. She kept it from us for 3 years.
So,
Do you
yeah.
know of how soon that was, or how relatively a time frame would be when he's doing that and when he went missing, or is
We
this something that's kind of
believe
gone by?
we believe it happened after he took his ankle monitor off in December of 2022, and then all the way up to his disappearance.
And is he robbing drug dealers, or do you know the type of people he's robbing?
I have no idea. We just saw the messages where he's like, "Hey, I'm about to kick a door in," and she's like, "Okay, I'll meet you here," and stuff like that. And then she's like, "I'm gonna become the Black Widow of Washington County," like all kinds of stuff.
So he's breaking into houses. He's not doing like stick ups.
I have no idea what it was.
And the reason why I'd ask that, because I would think that if you go and you rob another drug dealer, then that's going to give a very high probability that they're going to retaliate, or someone associated with them is going to retaliate once they find out who it is.
Right.
But if you're just kicking in like John Smith's door and trying to get money, or find a pistol or whatnot, I think that's a little bit different.
Right. Yeah, I'm
Right,
not
and you
sure
would
which
think-
way they were going. I'm not sure which way they were doing it. We just know that's what they were doing. And again, she kept that from us for 3 years. And then I do want to share some information with you. We did reach out to the California Police Department, and they stated the case was taken out of their hands and given to the Attorney General.
Oh, good.
Oh, good.
So we're sitting waiting to make sure that's true, but that's what they had told us.
Okay,
And
so that's great. That sounds to
It
me like
is.
you're ready to start, maybe there's a grand jury case that's been started. That's actually really good news.
Yes.
And because of the type of, climate that your brother might have been involved in, if these people are doing specific crimes, it means they're probably also wanted for other things, just aside from the fact that your brother is missing. So that's actually really good news.
I think we lost Sam for a second. But what I was going to say is that is encouraging, because last time we talked, I know that her or Sam and the police department were having a lot of difficulties, and they felt like the case was not going anywhere. And I told her that I really wish that a larger department would take this over, someone that had more experience with dealing with complex cases like this, especially having resources. I worked for when I was with Raleigh, we had a little bit over 700 people, which I realize is tiny compared to Chicago.
It's still pretty sizable though. 700 is pretty good.
Yeah, we were at 777 when I started 20 years ago, and now they're at that today, which is amazing because population has doubled. But what I was going to go with is that being a department like that, you had resources. We had an IT guy who was trained to do the cellular dumps for us and had a Cellbrite. We had 2 of them at our department.
Yeah, that's
You had a whole, we called it the RIC Center, the Raleigh Intelligence Center, where you had people that did nothing but pulled maps and did all the data and research for you.
How long ago was that?
This was I left in 2022.
Okay, because even Chicago, we didn't have that stuff until like 2020, where we even started having that. And you think like a huge department that has, anywhere between 12 and 14,000 police officers would have that. And we only recently now, and now we have ATC centers, which is, we do cell phone dumps, and, we have all of the equipment that we need. But Sam, I think it's really good that if they are opening up a case, it sounds to me like they are close to at least, taking some kind of furtherance of the case, whether it be interviewing, people involved, or if they have an idea exactly what happened. The fact that he hasn't been recovered could be problematic, but if it is a situation where they disposed of his body or hid it or covered it, I mean, I would think at this time, I mapped it out a little bit, the cemetery, and you would think by now, warmer climate now too, that they would have found him if he was just discarded on the side of the road.
The cemetery's never been searched.
Oh, it hasn't.
Right.
By professionals, only by family multiple times. No professionals in 3 years have checked the cemetery.
When you
What's
guys do it, do
problematic-
you guys do like how do you guys do a search like that? Like with you and your family, friends, volunteers?
We just get people together and we gather and we just look and walk and check everything we can.
And that's kind of the problem when I was looking at a case called Brandon Swanson. I don't know if y'all have heard about that, but in no offense to people that do searches themselves, but there's a whole technical aspect of that when it's done well and done correctly, where they're judging everything from like if this person's injured, how far they would go. They're looking at predation, which is definitely going to happen in this case, if he is around, because I mean, this was in March of 2023. I mean, by now, I hate to say it like this, but we're not looking for just a normal body. We're looking for signs of Matthew, and I think that that's something to kind of keep in mind, is that we really need to find a professional search team that can map out this area and start quadrant it off, because they're incredibly hard. I've been on them before where police officers ran it along with other departments. When our best one was, we went to Emporia, Virginia, out in the middle of nowhere, and it was like swamp and farmland raining down on us, and we even had the cell phone data. Like, we knew where this guy's phone had been. We were looking for a victim of a murder, and it took us almost an entire day to find him, and we only found him due to we knocked on this dude's trailer and just started asking questions. He's like, "Oh, I saw some vultures around this field the other day," and we went and ended up finding the guy in the brush. And I say that because, again, like, it's a time-consuming effort, and it's also something that when people who are just randomly going out there and walking around this area, it's a very large crime scene in essence as well. And so, things just have to be dealt with delicately.
Right. Yeah, we didn't know what else to do when we did go searching. We haven't searched in like 2 years, but we've been begging for the area to be searched by professionals and they just refuse. We do have a search and rescue on the case, but the police won't let them search the cemetery.
The police won't allow them to do it. Because
Yeah,
I have a friend who runs a non-for-profit who does searching. Like he can do it. But he would need the approval from local law enforcement, I guess, because it is a cemetery, though, would be owned by, it wouldn't be owned by the city. It would be like, it would be a private entity. So I mean, I would think you would need approval from them, not necessarily the police, unless the police are calling this a crime scene. Which, Sam, where do you think your brother is now? Just from everything you've heard, all the rumors, you've talked to all the people involved. What is your gut telling you where he is?
He's buried. That's what I feel.
Do you think that he's buried somewhere near that cemetery?
No.
Okay.
Do you have an idea where you think he's buried?
I feel like he's buried within 20 minutes of the cemetery for sure.
do you are you basing that off of any knowledge that you have from speaking with people, or are
Yes,
okay?
constant stories just lead to the same kind of destination, same kind of areas, multiple areas, but the same few. So I just feel like he's within a radius of that area, and I just feel like he's buried. I feel it in my gut.
Is there any significance to that area with him
No,
or with the people that he was involved with?
probably the people he was involved with.
And how many people exactly have pointed to that area? If you had to just a ballpark guess,
At least 5.
at least, and what are their connection to each other?
They all just know each other, hung out with each other. All the people involved with my brother's disappearance and around like the disappearance are all people who knew each other for years besides the 2 girls. They didn't know each other like that. But everyone else that fits into the story have known each other for years.
Sam, I have one question. In terms of, I looked at your stuff, and you just mentioned the Snapchat thing about them, logging into his social media. Were they sending messages and stuff pretending to be him?
Yes,
And who were the messages to?
everybody.
You
Anyone who texted him, yeah. We were in a group chat with just our cousins, and we were in there talking about it and like saying, hey, like, why are there girls on Matthew's Snapchat? And then they would come in and be replying, and we knew it wasn't Matthew because they were on his Snapchat.
And that just draws the most suspicion out of anything in my eyes, that someone Matthew's age does not have their wallet or their cell phone. And I would think that anyone that has his cell phone or his wallet is involved in some capacity.
Absolutely. I could agree.
Like, there's no logical reason for him to leave that car, even if he was turning himself in,
Right.
you know?
To the best of your knowledge, has it just been the one search warrant executed so far?
Yeah.
Just one.
And when you talked to his fiance, what was her reasoning for, writing, or did she even admit that it was her that was responding on messages?
So it was more so that she was on his phone, and then when I reached out to her, she's like, yeah, it was us replying to everybody, and he's been missing since the day prior. So like he hadn't had his phone the whole day of the 10th, which is the day everyone was under suspicion after seeing the Snapchat.
I mean, did you say why you took away valuable time that we could have been looking for him? Why were you pretending? I mean, clearly someone who's doing that is hiding something. Why are you trying to make it look like he is still around, that he isn't missing? Right. Did she give you any reason for that?
She didn't call anyone after he went missing. She didn't reach out to law enforcement. She didn't do anything but look for him for like 30 minutes, and then supposedly went home to get her daughter off the bus and went through his phone, found the other girl, then went to her house, picked her up, went to a couple house parties out by her house, probably to waste some time, and then came back to her house and they slept together.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
so,
have the police interviewed both girls?
Supposedly they have, but Kylie, the girlfriend, refused. She didn't refuse, but she was scheduled for a polygraph twice and showed up intoxicated both times.
And so they didn't do the polygraph, essentially.
Right. And then also the day my brother went missing, she broke into the church or the cemetery, which she said she was looking for him after he went missing. And then on her way to pick him up, she was about an hour away. She got pulled over going 51 miles per hour over the speed limit, racing to go get him.
Hold on, racing to go get
my brother from work the day he went missing.
So you right now don't even have a clean timetable of when he might have gone missing. So the last day that you talked to him was what date?
The
Or not that
7th
you, that someone talked to him
The 7th was the last day that family physically talked to him and saw him.
and saw him. And then he was reported missing on the 10th.
He was reported missing on the 11th and the 12th, and they wouldn't take it.
And is there a
But
reason why they
California
wouldn't take
PD
it?
wouldn't take it.
They said they wouldn't take it because he was on the run.
Because of the ankle monitor.
Yes.
So they wouldn't take a missing person report
No.
because he had an ankle monitor?
Yep.
Okay.
And they didn't file a missing person until the 18th,
Oh my God.
which was 11 days after he went missing, or we last spoke to him 9 days after he went missing.
And so this girl held onto that cell phone until when did you guys actually physically get it?
Kylie had it the 9th into the 10th. Sierra stole it off of Kylie the 10th and had it till the 12th. I got a call on it at 4 a.m. on the 12th with a female voice saying Matthew's gone, with a male laughing in the background. And then after the 12th, a guy took it off of Sierra named Tyler, gave it to Trisha, a friend of my brother's, and Trisha kept it till 23rd of March.
Oh my
And
God.
she was supposed to bring it back to us the day she got it.
And have the police talked to all these other people involved to your knowledge?
Supposedly they have, but anytime we give them any messages regarding anything regarding Matthew's disappearance or any reasoning on why he would be gone, they tell us we can't take that message as proof. We need that person to come forward. But they don't go and reach out to that person themselves. They just want them to come forward.
And then I know you said this was recent. When did the police tell you that the attorney general took over the case? Is that what they said? That
Yeah,
actually-
they just said that the other day. My grandma had called down there and asked about my brother's case, and the chief told her that the attorney general took the case off of them.
But no one from the attorney general's office actually contacted her.
Right.
And have you reached out to the attorney general?
Yeah, we have, and they want an email. So we have emailed them to prove like identity, they said. So we emailed them and we're waiting for an email back.
And where
Wouldn't that
is
be
your-
worth like a conversation face to face?
Oh, you and I think alike. I was just going to say that. I was going to be like, I would just go down there. I would even go down there with news media.
Well,
And-
you know what blows my mind too, and Michelle, maybe you can chime in on this, is that if your bike gets stolen in the city of Raleigh, there's a departmental policy that says that the detective has X number of days to contact you and update you on the case. And then it's, again, robbery. You've got even less amount of time. And there's in policy how many days you have until you have to contact the victim again and give them some type of update.
Yeah,
And you're
we have
saying
it-
that they're like, oh, we're going to ghost you.
Yeah, we
Pretty
have it in
much.
Chicago where every month we have to do a supplementary report or something that we're keeping in contact with victims of homicides. And obviously this isn't, maybe it is a homicide. They got the search warrant for it. So I would imagine at some point there is some kind of case report that was generated looking at this as a homicide investigation. But yeah, and the fact that someone got the chief's ear, I would just go straight to him. I would go straight to him. You obviously have some kind of contentious relationship with this investigator. And I know there's not many people there, but at this point, and especially if they really did hand it over to the attorney general, contact him. And then I would also, the email is fantastic and you can get the information, but I would show up. And if you have the media there and they're interested in doing this story tomorrow, have one of them come down. I mean, I think that would, if anything, it would help them too. It's a good story for the news. You go down there then, and that way, if they tell you, yes, Sam, we are, moving forward with prosecution, that would be the only reason that they have the case, if they truly have the case, because you also don't know if they handed the case over to them without, without them saying like, yeah, we are going to prosecute this case. So I think you need more answers, and you've been very patient, but I would just go down there in person. Like phone calls, it's easy for someone to blow you off with a phone call, with an email. Yeah. And tomorrow's Friday. If it's not far, I would just go down there, show up and just say, I need answers. This has been going on for 3 years.
Right.
Yeah. And I think what you're doing is great though. Like
Thank you.
not letting up. You have all these people that are behind you. The case is super interesting, but someone knows. You know, and if you can
Absolutely.
even, I'll give you the info so you can reach out to the Crime Stoppers. Someone, and not just one, some people know exactly what happened here.
Yep.
Yeah. So, question: I'm getting a lot of comments here, and a lot of them are talking about James. Do you know who? Can you give us some background on that?
James is just a friend of ours from TikTok.
Okay, gotcha.
He's just in our Matthew's Army group.
I've got you. All right. Well, you've definitely got a strong following here, and I think that's awesome, and especially what you've done. Yeah, I hate to bring this up, but I'm going to.
Bless you.
My God,
Bless you.
excuse me. Thank you,
One
thank
of
you.
the things that bothered me about this case is that, again, we've got this period where there's not contact between the investigators and Sam's family. And then when Sam does have a conversation with one of the investigators, it's on Snapchat and he's asking her to dinner.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's bizarre.
Yeah.
It's weird.
I mean, have you ever dated any victims, family members, Michelle?
Yeah, that is, I mean, unprofessional beyond. Like, I've heard about people, we've talked about people that have tried stuff like that, but yeah, that's, it's just a crazy level of being
I just think that at that point, it should be like, okay, you know what?
right.
It's time to get someone new. Let's get
Right.
some fresh eyes on this.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
even with
what
me,
our
like my
thought was.
detectives are not getting along with people. I don't just generally reassign the case to another detective, but I will reach out to them and talk to them. And regardless of anything, I could have the biggest, like, you know, person that's not assisting me with everything else, but I still try to help families. And yeah, it's just unfortunate that you're dealing with that. And just so you know, Sam, my sister's name is Sam. So every time I see my sister Sam, I have my sister Sam too. So.
And it'll be interesting to hear the circumstances with the AG's office getting involved, because I remember at different points you've attempted to get the state police interested. And I know that the state police in Pennsylvania, the way the laws are structured there, it's a little bit different in terms of the circumstances in which they will get involved. And it needed to be at the invitation of the police chief, except if there was some kind of public corruption dimension. I believe in Pennsylvania was the only time that they would actually directly get involved in the case. And so I would be interested in knowing whether with the attorney general, was this something that the chief just said, I want this off my plate, and passed it to them? Or was there some other circumstance? Because I know you did News Nation, you've done some other more major media recently. Was there some circumstance where the attorney general was actually getting involved and just exercise some broader jurisdiction in the case?
I think there's a lot more to Matthew than just him missing. I believe it's just a little fish in a big pond of a lot more going on in the area. And I feel like the way to get to it is to get to Matthew and find him and find answers, and they'll get to the bigger fish.
Did the five friends that have or the five people that were in his circle who have consistently pointed to that one location that they believe he was at, did those individuals know that he was engaged?
No.
No. So the only thing that did anybody know he was engaged outside of his girlfriend saying that they were?
Nope.
Do you believe it?
No. Because she would have posted it on social media.
Oh.
I
No,
would.
you're absolutely right. I
And I
completely
mean,
agree.
with what she does post on social media and what she did post in the past, you think she would post that?
So you think that was a kind of a ploy just to cover her ass and to make herself?
I feel like it is. Because I feel like Matthew would have reached out to my mom or even his son and been like, hey, I'm engaged. Like, I proposed. My brother was like, when he wanted something, he would put his all into it and go for it. He didn't care. Like, he was just that type of person. But, like, he would have been very forward with us and telling us about it and really excited to tell us.
Yeah, I think that's very alarming
And
that she is the only
supposedly,
one that says that.
supposedly he proposed 2 nights before he went missing,
Eh,
which was the
That's so
last time
convenient.
that we spoke to him.
Right.
I have a question for you guys. So, I'm not familiar with Attorney General. In Chicago, we just use the prosecutor's office for the specific county. Like in Chicago, it's Cook County prosecutors. I was looking it up, and I was looking here. Not that this is necessarily correct, but they're saying that the Pennsylvania Attorney General looks at cases that are differently than prosecutors do. They say that they specialize in organized crime and narcotics and multi-county affairs. I'm just wondering if that's the case. The other 20 minutes away location that you mentioned that he could possibly be in, is that in the same county or would that be in another county?
Same county.
Same county. I'm just wondering why it wouldn't go to the local prosecutor's office,
Right.
attorney general. Like it looks like they do a lot of, large scale narcotics, organized crime, all that type of stuff. So it's interesting, but I mean, there could, I guess, be a criminal network because of the fact that you now know that they were minimally booting doors in and maybe robbing drug dealers, maybe burglarizing or whatever the case is. But the fact that it's all within the same county is interesting to me. And that's why you should, hopefully find out sooner than later if this case truly is being looked at by the attorney general. And if so, why it's not being looked at just by local prosecutors. So there might be some larger scale thing that they're looking at regarding the messages that the girlfriend sent you. So you need information, obviously.
Yes.
Yeah, and Sam, and that's one of the questions I'd have again is that if this is some type of organized crime element where Matthew is working with, let's say, a group to rob houses or to rob people, that group's not going to be mad at him if they're working together. I think
Right.
that the person that has some beef in this is the two girls that are finding out that he's dating both of them, right?
Yeah,
Because we don't have any
Kylie,
evidence of him actually robbing an individual drug dealer or any type of person, or do we have knowledge of that?
we have knowledge that there was someone he was going after for a big lump sum of money for,
That he took a lump sum money off of?
I don't know if he took it, but supposedly there was a lump sum of money he wanted to go after. He had told his best friend prior to him going missing. And it was also trying to protect Kylie because she told a lie about the situation. So it
Do you
goes
know how
back
much
to,
money we're talking about?
I was told 50,000.
Okay. So he may have found someone that had $50,000 in cash. I assume this is someone that's probably in the drug
Kylie
world.
knows him. Kylie
Okay.
knows him.
So Kylie knows this guy. Was Kylie part of setting him up, do you think?
I can't say that she is or isn't. I feel like she knows what happened to him in the long run. I feel
Yeah,
like
you said the text
she,
messages. Sorry, Sam. You said something about the text messages where she said she was going to be the Black Widow of whatever. So
yeah,
from that, it looks like I would assume that whoever wrote that was participating in these, door boot-ins or whatever it is. And I just wonder also if it's a possibility that you thought of that the person came to her and said, okay, you guys did this burglary, robbery, whatever the heck it is. Let me know where he is. And
right.
that's where her awareness comes from. Not that she set him up, but she was involved in something that he was doing. And yeah, again, keeps coming back to her.
Right.
All right. Well, Sam, tell us about what's going on tomorrow and what time people need to be there. Give us the details on that.
Yeah, so tomorrow's the protest in front of the Washington County DA's office in the Washington County Courthouse. And we're protesting not just for awareness of Matthew, but we're protesting also for anyone who has a missing family member who's not getting answers, who's not getting help. We're trying to be a voice and show them that just because someone has a past, they still have an army behind them who love and care about them and want answers, and we're not stopping till we get answers. So that's at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm also going live on TikTok. You can watch it there as well if you can't be there in person. And then after that, we'll get a haul and we'll have food and dinner. And then when it gets dark, we'll have a vigil for Matthew. And I'll also be live at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for that as well on TikTok.
Look, it's so impressive what you've done, and especially to watch this grow. And I think that you can be an example to, unfortunately, the thousands of victims, family members that are out there, and just really be a blueprint of what you need to do to bring justice to your family member.
Absolutely. I've almost been on TikTok for a whole year now, believe it or not. And in the last 5 months, I've really blown up and really got his story out there. And with the help of the missing people advocates on TikTok, they've helped me come far. They've helped me get his story further than I ever thought I could.
Well, we'll definitely support you. I've already got people that want to come on and talk with you, and so we'll
Perfect.
set that up in next couple months or so. Michelle, any final thoughts before I give you some plugs?
No, you know what? I think Sam is doing a great job, and awareness is the most important thing, and not forgetting about it. I know it's hard for you to do this all the time because you're reliving the trauma all the time, but I think it's great, and I hope that you get some answers. Hopefully, if you go down there and bring your army, hopefully you'll get the answers that you need, and hopefully you can tug on some heartstrings of the people that are aware of what happened, and hopefully they'll feel a little bit of sympathy for and empathy for what you're going through, because this could happen to anyone. Anyone could have a family member that goes missing, and you want to find out what happened. So good luck.
Absolutely.
And I'll
Thank you
connect
so
you with
much.
the people that I told you that I have.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, Michelle, let's make sure we tell people about your book, Model Detective. This book really is more about cases than anything, and you've got an incredible life. For those that are interested in the case, you can also check out the show that we did together. It's on the channel as well. Michelle, where can we get your book at?
It's on Amazon.com. It's on Barnes & Noble. And then you can go to the link for my website at also modeldetectivebook.com. And yeah, I have a lot of new stuff coming up in the future. I'm actually starting a non-for-profit for missing and cold cases. So we're starting.
That's so awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I just actually found that my name was available today, so I'm doing the baby steps now, because this is what I want to do. I want to stay trying to help people and getting the word out. And I think cases, like what Sam is doing, I think it's so important. And yeah, I just wish the best for her.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, and again, that's so awesome that you're taking your skills, and you've been doing homicides for how many decades?
I was promoted to detective in 2020, Jesus Christ, 2006. So I've been doing murders for about the last 20 years.
But you've been a detective since your, fourth year?
Yeah, I made detective when I had 5 years on the job.
Yeah.
So yeah, a long time. And Chicago, typically with my homicide team, we usually had, each team probably had about 35 murders a year. So, and that's just including the cases that were assigned to my team. I went out on a lot of other cases too. So I've been to thousands of crime scenes. So yeah.
I'd say you're experienced.
A little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I would feel good about you working a case of my family members.
Oh, well, good. Thank you. I had the best compliment ever from my lieutenant. She's like, if I was ever murdered, I'd want you to work my case. So it's the best compliment I could ever get.
Oh my gosh. Well, make sure that you pick up her book. Brian, you've got a book of your own that you're working on, Murder in Niceville. Do you want to give people a glimpse of that?
Yeah, so I'm under contract with the History Press right now. I'm working on a book about the recently solved Deborah Elizabeth Espy case. It was solved and closed by the Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office after 53 years. So it should give a lot of people hope, and it is a incredibly inspiring story for me just to see. Well, I'm working really closely with the Espy family, but also just to see the multiple generations of detectives. I know it's a cliche to speak about the perseverance of investigators, but really they went above and beyond. And it's really going to give people a kind of behind the scenes look at what happened with investigators who really worked tirelessly for 53 years and never stopped working to close a case. And so that's not going to be available for a little bit. I'm in the trenches writing right now. So I will encourage you to pick up Michelle's Model Detective in the interim time. This is another really human look at investigators, and it's a book I thoroughly enjoy reading. So I hope everyone else will pick it up too.
And while you're picking up her book, you can pick up our book that's
Oh,
out
that's
now,
right. Our other
on
book too.
campus.
Yeah, pick up that one as well.
Yes. The Professor, the Cop, in North Carolina's Most Notorious Cold Case. That's
Yeah.
available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, Audible, anywhere where you can get a book. And while you're at it, we just hit over 500 subscribers on Santana True Crime. So you get to do a lot of cool stuff like make mugs and merch now. And yeah, so if you want to support Santana True Crime, you can start off by liking and subscribing. We are now going to offer the YouTube memberships. We're still trying to figure out what that's going to look like, but I'm sure that's going to be extra content and some behind the scenes look at the show. So thank you for everyone that has supported the show sincerely. I can't believe that it's grown this fast. When I left law enforcement full time, I was looking for something to do that was actually meaningful.
Yeah.
And Brian came up with this crazy idea of writing a book together. I kind of blew it off like, yeah, sure, whatever. And then the next week, he told us we were under contract. I had no idea it was a big process to like get a book signed on with a publishing company until 6 months later when we were, on podcast. So, it's gone from being a cop to writing a book to eventually having a show, and I'm loving it. And Sam, thank you so much for letting me be a small part of this. This is what I love doing. And Michelle, I can't wait for your nonprofit to start, and please come on again. You are actually going to be coming on again in the next month or so to talk about another cold case of a missing person, Ashley Loring Heavy Runner, with Jason Blair. So people have to check out that episode as well.
Thank you so much.
Well, all right, everyone. Thank you again, and good night.